Okay, area. Remember when we talked about perimeter, that is the measure of the outside of a shape, like walking around a track. And now when we're talking about area, we're talking about the space inside of a shape. Imagine like you're mowing a lawn or you're painting in a wall. This is the area, and we express this using square measurements, square inches, square centimeters, square feet, etc. So if you're trying to rent an apartment or buy a house or get a storage unit, those are often given to us in square feet. Oh, this apartment is 700 square feet. This home is 1,800 square feet. You can get a 20 square foot storage unit. This is what we're talking about when we talk about area. Now, for squares and rectangles, we find the area by multiplying the length times the width. So here, I know that I have 10 centimeters and 6 centimeters, and I can multiply them to get my area of 60 square centimeters. 60 square centimeters. And we often will say like 10 by 6. And that by is this times. So that's how we're getting our area. If you imagine that this is like divided into 6 equal parts, we're going to pretend like those are straight lines, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters. And then this is divided into 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we're going to imagine these lines are perfectly straight. I have 6 centimeters by 10 centimeters. If I count up each of these squares, I would get 60. And this is how we're finding the area. It's just a lot easier to multiply 10 times 6. For parallelograms, we find the area by multiplying the base, so this bottom part, times the height. And the height is from a right angle. So we have to be careful with parallelograms because this 8 centimeter side doesn't actually tell us anything about the area. And the reason for that is that this is kind of like a little triangle, right? If we go straight up from here, we end up with a triangle over here. And so this 8 is going to screw us up. So we just want to remember for parallelograms, base times height from a right angle. So in this case, we have 12 times 6 centimeters, which gives us 72 square centimeters is the area of this shape. So if I fill this in, I need 72 square centimeters of material to fill this in. Pause this video and try to find the area of the following shapes. All right, so this square, we have 49 times 49 is going to give us 2,401 square feet. And we want to make sure we're using our square units here, square feet. 19 times 8 is 152 square yards. And then 56 times 20 is 1,120 square inches. Take a look at these two word problems and give them a shot. All right, so sometimes word problems are difficult for me to picture in my brain. So I will often draw something to help me while I'm reading this. So it says that Alan built a small shed that is 5 feet wide and 4 feet long. What is the area of this shed? So the area would be 5 times 4, 20 square feet is the area. And then what is the perimeter? The perimeter, remember, I'm adding up these sides. So I have 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 is 18 feet. Not square feet, just feet. All right, the children went to a swimming pool. The pool measures 10 feet long, 4 feet wide. What's the area of the pool? So again, I have 10 times 4 is going to give me 40 square feet. And the perimeter of the pool, if I have 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4, 28 feet. Now for triangles, we find the area by taking the base times the height and dividing it by half. The reason for this is that really a triangle is half of a square, right? Or half of a rectangle. And if we find the area of a square or rectangle by multiplying the base times the height, we can find the area of a triangle by multiplying the base times the height divided by 2, or half of that. Here we have 6 times 8, which is 48. Then divided by 2 is 24 square centimeters. Pause this video and find the area of these triangles. All right, so we have 3.2 times 8.5 divided by 2, which is 13.6 square inches. And then here we have 5.6 times 2.2 divided by 2, so we get 6.16 square feet. And this last one, we have 3.5 times 6.8 divided by 2, and we get 11.9 square yards. All right, so this one will be a little bit different again because we have the area of the triangle, but we're missing one of the sides. We're missing either the base or the height. So we're gonna work this problem backwards, where remember we have the area of a triangle is equal to the base times the height divided by 2. Now if we plug this in differently, so here we have our area is 15 square inches equals the base, which we know is 5, times the height, which we don't know, divided by 2. So now I see on this side, it's being divided by 2. And to get rid of that, or to cancel that out, I'm gonna multiply this whole side by 2. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side. So 2 times 15 is 30. And then since I've multiplied this by 2, it really just cancels that out. So I have 5 times the height equals 30. And now I'm multiplying by 5, so I can divide both sides by 5. And I get that my height is 6. 6 inches is my height. Pause this video and give these next two a try. All right, so I have 217 equals 24 times the base divided by 2. So again, I'm multiplying both sides by 2. So I have 217 times 2 is 434 equals 24b. And then I'm going to divide both of these sides by 24 to get my base of 18.083333333333, and I will just round it to 18.08. And then this last one, I have 225 equals 30 times height divided by 2. If I multiply both sides by 2, I get 450 equals 30h, and divide both sides by 30. 450 divided by 30 is 15. So my height is 15 yards. Now when we're dealing with circles, just like with perimeter and circumference, how that was a little bit different, finding the area of a circle is also going to be different. So we're still using pi, that 3.14, but we're doing pi times the radius squared. So we remember in the order of operations, and that tells us that when we have an exponent, the exponent gets operated on before our multiplication. So our radius squared has to happen before we multiply by pi. It's kind of weird, but we get super different answers. So in this scenario here, where our radius is 12 centimeters, we're squaring the 12 centimeters first. So then we have 144 square centimeters times pi is 452.16 square centimeters. Now, if we don't follow the order of operations and we just go left to right, where we have 3.14 times 12 squared, if we square this, we are going to get 1,419 square centimeters, which is super different. So the order of operations, we have to be really careful here. Pause this video and calculate the area of these circles. All right, so here we have 15 feet squared times 3.14. And we're going to get 706.5 square feet. Here we're showing the diameter, so it's important before we do any calculations that we're cutting this in half so that we only get the radius. So we should be dealing with 11 inches here. And if we take 11 inches squared times 3.14, we get 379.94 square inches. And then on this last one, we have 9 squared times 3.14 is 254.34 square yards. Here again, we're going to work this backwards. I want you to pause this video for just a minute and use the area to try and find the radius and the diameter of these circles. All right, so remember the area is pi times the radius squared. And if we know that the area is 100 square feet equals pi times the radius squared. And we know that pi is 3.14. Then again, we're dealing with those same scenarios like where we're solving for a variable. I can divide both sides by 3.14. So I have 100 divided by 3.14. It's going to give me 31.85, I'm rounding here, equals the radius squared. Now to get rid of this radius squared, we are going to use the square root. The square root. You hopefully have this button on your calculator. this button tells you what number times itself equals your answer. So for example, if I have 16, the square root of 16 is 4, because 4 squared equals 16. So that's how that relationship works. So we're going to take the square root. Again, because we're doing it on one side, we have to do it on both sides. So we're going to take the square root of both sides, where we get our radius is 5.64. So our radius is going to be 5.64 feet. And then our diameter is double that. Remember, so our diameter is going to be 11.29 feet if I'm rounding. And if you're doing this and you feel like maybe you're not doing it right, if you want to take your answer, so let's say our answer is 5.64, and I know that to find the area, I can square that and then multiply it by pi. So if I take 5.64 squared and then multiply that by pi, I end up with 99.88. And the reason for that, remember, is because I rounded so many times, and because I'm using 3.14 as pi instead of the full pi. But 99.88 is close enough to 100 that I know I'm on the right track, that I've done it right. So let's look at this next one. If we have 625 equals 3.14 r squared. So again, I'm dividing both sides by 3.14. And I have 625 divided by 3.14 is 199.04. And then I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and I get 14.11 inches. And to find the diameter, I'm multiplying that by 2, so I get 28.22 inches. And then last one, 49 equals 3.14 times radius squared. I'm dividing both sides by 3.14. So I have 15.61 equals r squared. I'm taking the square root of both sides, which will give me 3.95 yards. And I want to double that, so I have 7.9 yards.